missus house, thinking to myself at that point, I was really low at that point, and I said to myself, if that parachute doesn't open tomorrow, I don't care.
You just felt that low.
That's how. Yeah, I was in a really, really dark place.
But not that you wanted to delete yourself, but you just didn't care if things went wrong.
I wasn't thinking straight at that very time of moment. So I wasn't thinking, I don't care if it doesn't open. Obviously, I knew what the consequences were if it didn't open. Yeah. But I wasn't thinking straight.
So you was at a point where I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. And I went to go and see my sister. We had a lovely dinner together. The following morning, I was thinking back at that moment, and I thought to myself, I was wrong. I shouldn't be. At that point, that wasn't right. That wasn't good. And then I started realising through. I don't know if you heard of a.
What's good, people? Welcome back to London Boy Podcast. It's your boy Vinny. I'm back with my cousin Gero. Gero, how are you doing, man?
I'm all good. Thank you very much.
You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. Well, my name is Gero. Obviously, Vincenzo's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I was on here maybe 2 years ago, and have the pleasure
of coming back
on your very first live podcast. So
let's cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Come on.
Fantastic.
So the topic of today I want to talk about is dating in 2023. That's the main topic. So yeah, we were talking about it earlier off camera. It's a different game, isn't it, from your day? You're obviously a little bit older than me.
It certainly is, yeah. I mean, I still remember the days where there wasn't any kind of like social media and none of these kind of online apps that people are using nowadays, at the moment. Yeah. So it was very much used to go out and meet people face to face, whereas now the dating scene is very much a hybrid, or maybe more so, people are using the apps more than actually going out and seeing people.
More social media based now, isn't it?
It certainly is.
So what's your experience like on the dating apps and social media? Have you benefited of it? Have you used it?
I must admit, I haven't used it. I've been in I was in a long-term relationship for 15 years. I've recently came out about 2 years ago, and about a year ago I met my new partner, and again that was through face-to-face, of meeting people face-to-face. So I never really used the apps.
And yeah, you're newly engaged.
Oh yeah, recently engaged. Thank you very much. Cheers to that.
So yeah, wow, you said you was in a relationship for 15 years.
Yeah. 15 years, yeah. So back then, when I was back in the dating scene then, it was very much, we used to dress up, we used to go out,
put more effort in, right?
We used to put much more of an effort, to impress each other, both men and women. Back in the day, we used to go to the clubs and the bars. So it's when I broke up with my other partner, with my partner, to then go back out into that dating world. It was a shock to the system, I've got to say.
Mate, you was away for 15 years, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I wasn't a hobbit and stayed indoors and never did anything. But I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going to the bars as much. I wasn't. I'd be going to maybe restaurants here and there. But
so you didn't see the free market.
No, I didn't. No.
The free enterprise.
Yeah. What shocked me the most was the effort that people make nowadays. I find that people will go. People wearing trainers a lot more. It's a lot more cash now.
And back then, people wore at least a shirt, right?
Yeah, shirt, pair of shoes. Yeah, so that was a shock to the system, I would say. Yeah, just and it looks fine. It's cool. But it was I couldn't get my head around just going out on a date and wearing a pair of trainers. So yeah.
You do it now, right? When you go on dates with your other half.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you've got to kind of like, in a way,
get with the times.
Get with the times. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I go to a nice restaurant, I'll still wear a nice pair of shoes. But yeah, generally going out and about now, it's the norm now. I find.
I feel like people, they look to impress now, but they do it for Instagram. They don't do it as like an everyday thing,
Well, the thing is, with this, I feel that I was lucky enough that I didn't have to go to any of these online apps. Like, you've got like Tinder with this whole kind of swiping left and right, or you have Bumble where the woman makes the first move. And I just feel that it's, you see these photos of these people, and you know, I've got friends of mine that said, "Oh yeah, they've been catfished," and I thought, what on earth does that mean?
What, women pretending to be someone else, or?
Well, yeah, or you know, men or women, kind of like, you know, you see their picture on the app. And then when you see them in real life, they've either put on a ton loads of weight.
5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, or they look completely different, you know, circumstances, whatever the circumstances are. And for me, I didn't never experience that, because when you used to go out, you know, you'd meet that person, you'd see that person there in front of you. There's that instant attraction, you know, because you see someone, and then you approach them, you get to know them. You
get that.
You know, and I, you know, that's what I grew up with.
And I was mentioning earlier how I feel like a lot of these dating apps, they're like, it's like a CV, isn't it? Like the bio, oh yes, I do this for a living, and I do that for a living, and I've been here and I've been there. Like that shit really matters in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? Yeah. But men feel obliged to put that out there to try and impress the woman, because the dating market's so saturated right now.
Yeah. And
it's all superficial and materialistic jargon that wins the woman.
Yeah, it's almost
for the most part.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like you're going shopping. It feels like a shopping environment, and it's like you're looking at things. It's like, you know, it's like going on to like a, you know, Amazon or eBay or one of these, and you're like, all right, okay, so what looks? Oh well, this one. Oh, that looks alright. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, literally, it's like that.
Left and right.
On like instant.
Yeah. And you're making judgments on an individual, on a person, based on their looks, and you know what the criteria they feel is important to them.
Yeah, people put their height on it. I'm 6'2". I'm 5'9".
Yeah, and I just feel that you know, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that have met each other and, you know, have successful relationships through these apps. Yeah. So I'm not saying they're a bad thing. All I'm saying is that for me personally, I didn't feel comfortable kind of like going onto one of these apps, because
I get that.
It wasn't for me. So I was, you know, whether I was lucky that I did meet someone else, you know, in a more traditional manner, who knows? But yeah, no, it's fine, but I think it can be a bit volatile.
Yeah. Funny enough, like dating apps, I've only really met 2 people off them. One of them was successful, but it really didn't get anywhere. See, that girl, she wanted her options open. But yeah, I'm more of an IRL type of guy in real life. You know, you meet, you socialize. This is who I am. Take me for who I am, or don't take me at all. Yeah. That's my approach, right?
Yeah.
There's no chat up lines. There's no tricking. There's no manipulating.
You ain't got chat. You must have some decent chat up lines, though, no?
You know what? I've used a chat up line in real life where I met. This is a year ago or so, close to Christmas time. So like this time last year, my friend's girlfriend introduced me to her friend, right? And she was pretty good looking. And we were at Weatherspoons, right? Mm-hmm. You know, cheap and cheerful, have a laugh, have a good time. That's what I'm all about. Apart from the cheap stuff. But anyway, yeah, she was just saying how, like, cause she's lost a lot of weight, this girl. She went on like a diet and all that, lifestyle change. And she said, oh yeah, I haven't eaten sugar in over a year. Well, I haven't had sugar in over a year. And I said to her, I was like, darling, like, you don't need sugar. You're sweet enough as it is.
Oh, nice one. Nice. I like it.
You know,
what'd she say?
Oh, she was laughing. But you think that was alright, that one?
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel like if you can make a girl laugh, or if you know, I think you're halfway there. Girls like a bit of humour. They like a bit of confidence from a guy. You know, and you know that's the one thing again that I think a lot of these dating apps, you know, they're tearing that away from guys and from women. You know, like if guys aren't approaching women with a little bit of confidence, you know, and something about them, then often you find that girls don't find that attractive. Yeah. You know, being a little bit cocky sometimes, you know, it's kind of like that's what women are looking for sometimes.
And I won't lie to you, a lot of these dating apps and a lot of social networks and all that, it's a little bit shallow, man. It's like a popularity contest. You know?
Yeah, like it's literally just like I said earlier, like it feels like a shopping channel.
You
know, and you know, it's understandable why people did start using them, because obviously we had COVID, people were locked down.
They had more time on their hands. They had less to do, right?
Also, we weren't allowed out anywhere, were we? If you remember, so this was a great way for people to communicate and to get to know each other before people could actually meet up. So I'm all for it. I just feel that what's happening now is that people are just not using just not using them correctly, and there's a lot of dishonesty. And I feel that if people are going to be dishonest right from the onset, what they're going to be like in a relationship, if you don't.
How are you in real life? If you're bloody shallow and arrogant on a dating app, how are you going to be in real life?
Yeah. The thing is, I get why some people do it. Some people may think, oh, what chance have I got with somebody? I don't feel attractive. I don't feel that I'm the type of person that someone would want. So if someone is a guy is 5'10", and all of a sudden the social media is saying that if you're not more over 6 foot, earning X amount, then you've got no chance. So it encourages people to fib and to say things that they shouldn't be saying.
A lot of people, they like to talk about the 3 6s, like the devil number. 6 figures, 6 feet, and 6 inch.
Oh really?
Biceps, come on.
Of course, the biceps, of course, yeah.
But yeah, that's the modern day. I don't think, was height a big issue back in your day?
I don't think so. I mean, look, I'm just shy of 6 foot. I think 5'11", 6 foot. Or, I haven't measured myself for a while. Yeah. But so maybe I can't really talk on behalf of someone that's a guy that's maybe 5'8", 5'10". I don't know.
You've never been that guy.
I've never been that guy, so it's difficult for me to make that judgment. Was I shy when I was younger? Yes.
Yeah, we were all shy, man.
Did I know how to approach a girl when I was younger? Yeah. You learn that. You learn that through trial and error. You learn that through what do I feel comfortable with? Just getting in and jumping in. I fear for the younger generation, a little bit, because they're not able to go out and actually do that, and you're getting a lot more lonely men. You're getting a lot more men that haven't had an intimate relationship with someone, and that's not good.
It's not good because they don't socialise, they don't see what's bad and what's good, what's for them, what type of woman's not for them. Yeah. And I can't believe you've never met a woman off a dating app. That's crazy.
No, never have. I just like I said, I was very lucky to have found my fiance, and we, it was actually through business, through work. We had known each other for 4 years. She had travelled, she had gone away and travelled, came back. We met up one day for a drink. And so I was very, very lucky in that sense. Yeah.
But that's why I always say to men, guys, stay on your grind, and success is the best pickup line.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just might meet someone in real life. You know what I mean? If you're somebody that's passionate about a certain topic, you don't really need to go to a bar to find a woman. You don't need to go on a dating app. You might find her at work. You know what I mean? You might find her when you're out and about. In the library.
Yeah. I just find that women are attracted to someone that's just comfortable with themselves,
sure of themselves,
confident, and also things like having a hobby, having something that you're passionate about. I just find that really helps as well.
100%.
Even if it is gaming, so find yourself a gamer girl, right, or someone that enjoys gaming. But I think to have something that you have a passion for, and then finding someone that you have synergy with that passion. So be it. That works.
It's funny you mention that. I don't think I've told you this story, but like this podcast, right? When I started it during the pandemic, because I was sat at home, and it was just audio only, not even bloody Zoom fucking format, just audio only.
That's when I came along.
And that's when you came along, and not even bloody microphones. Like it was like computer fucking audio, shit quality, right? It got me a fucking date.
Oh, really?
It got me a date.
Nice.
But
what? Because contacted you through the messaging system?
So through fucking faxes. Like that. So we matched on OkCupid, and we spoke for a little bit. Nothing came of it, but I had her on Instagram, and then I started putting out these podcasts like financial freedom, this, that, the other. Things that I talk about on a day-to-day basis. I talk about with you. I talk about with my mates. That's why I'm big. I'm big on authenticity, right? So I'm having all these real chats, real conversations. Might as well put it out there. One day I get a message from this girl. I matched on freaking dating app. Message on Instagram. Oh, I listened to your podcast about financial freedom. Oh, it was really good. You're talking sense. Blah blah blah. Not even an hour later. Cool. We're meeting on Saturday to go for a date.
Nice.
So that people see, you know what I'm saying? People see what you're about. They see that you carry yourself a certain way, or you're true to yourself, and you know some women see it, some women don't.
This is it, and you know what? The right women will see it. You know, the right person. Everybody's different, and everybody looks for different things, right? But I just find that key to success, I would say, is just being confident, being comfortable within your own skin.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do speak to a girl, go with the intention. Sometimes to go with the intention of not even expecting anything.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah, I think guys put way too much pressure on themselves when approaching a girl. You know, thinking, oh man, this girl's really hot. Go up to it, and then you're like, freeze. You know, or you don't actually know what to say.
You're putting too much importance on it.
Yeah.
And you're creating anxiety for yourself.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. And so you mentioned a dating app story. You never met anyone from there. I've told you about my dating app story. About there was a girl I met. She was about a year older. You know, nice girl from nice area. She's from Surrey. I'm not going to mention her names, but if you know who you are, you know who you are. She's checked out the channel as well. And big up to you. But yeah, we went on 8 dates, and for me, like if I'm going on 8 dates with you and I'm spending the weekend at your house and stuff, like you're basically my girl, my girlfriend. So that's how I see it, right? But because she's too stuck on these dating apps and all this social media, she's in the mindset of, nah, I want to date you, but I want to date other people at the same time, just so I know what I want, basically. And I said it to her, I said it in front of her dad, and her dad agreed with me. Nah, you don't do that. You're either dating someone or you're not dating someone. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I guess that's the modern day world now.
Modern day world.
Yeah.
And then she used the perfect analogy, and until the day I die, I'm never going to forget this analogy. She basically said to me that, oh, I see dating as an ice cream shop. I went to the ice cream shop, and let's say you're lemon flavour. And I said to the guy at the counter, yeah, oh, I like lemon flavour, but tomorrow I want to go back and I want to try vanilla, or I want to try chocolate, or I want to try pistachio. But the guy says to her, no, you said you like lemon flavour, so you take lemon flavour. And she basically said that. That's what I was doing to her. Yeah. And then we just sort of called it quits. You know what? You're not ready to settle down, and whatever. Like, but we ended it respectfully.
Yeah. And do you know what? That was the best way. And we've spoken about this in the past. Communication is key, right?
100%.
You make sure you communicate with each other from the onset. That's one of the biggest mistakes I've made in the past, and I'm sure people are going to make it now and in the future. Not being able to communicate with your partner or with your friends or whatever, because you will alleviate a lot of stress and a lot of pain if you can try and communicate with each other properly.
And you said that was a big sort of factor in your past relationship, right? After 15 years.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, look, I was in a fantastic relationship, 15 years with my partner. We had a house together. Really cool. But there was one fundamental issue that we both kind of knew about. Yeah. But we never really discussed it over the years. And obviously, as we got older, it became evident that for me, that it was going to be an important aspect that I would want in my life. And for her, it still remained the fact that she wasn't keen on this. So
she told you that she wasn't keen on it from the get-go.
Correct,
right?
yeah. And I told her that I was keen that I was. So
but you knew it from the get-go.
We both knew it from the get-go, yeah. So
So what was you was hoping she changed her mind, right?
Yeah, I was hoping she changed her mind. Maybe she was obviously adamant from the beginning that she wasn't. Her friends, her family said, "Oh, don't worry, she'll change her mind. She'll change."
Even
her
own family was
saying, but she may change her mind. You think, okay, there's hope. Because we all live in hope, right? Star Wars, right? But Star Wars.
I am your father.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, so but she didn't, and I then had to make a decision. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, to just walk away from everything I built over like a 15-year period. And that looking through everything, I thought to myself, look, if that communication was clearer and my decision making was more efficient earlier on in my life, then it would have alleviated all that. Although saying that, I had 15 amazing years with this person.
But you don't regret it though. You can't live in regret.
No, I don't regret it at all.
You learn that.
I had the most amazing time with this person, and she's a wonderful person, and I wish her all the best. So but I think people, and this is something that I've learned, is that they communicate, but they don't communicate efficiently. And they don't talk about things in an efficient way, in the sense to, when you look at something, you think, right, this is our relationship or this is our friendship, this is where we want to go.
Yeah.
And we're afraid of telling the other person what we really want sometimes, and that can cause pain and anxiety in a relationship.
Pain and anxiety, yeah.
So that's just from my own experience, really.
So like 15 years, that's a long time,
It certainly is, yeah.
Some people are in prison for less than that,
Yeah, exactly that.
And you sort of didn't just walk away from a partner, you walked away from a life, you walked away from a house, you walked away from memories, you know what I mean?
It was very difficult, and I went through a very, very difficult time for a good year, where I was, there was a lot of self-reflection, there was a lot of downtime, there was a lot of times when I was slightly depressed, there was times when I felt good, I just needed to find something at some point. I got to the point where I needed to find a resolution to it, otherwise it would have just taken me down.
Yeah, so do you want to speak a bit about that, like your low point, and did you feel like you was at rock bottom at that time?
Well, I think what I ended up doing was I ended up trying to find distractions. So that was the first thing I tried to do. I didn't want to deal with the situation I was going through. So one of the things I was doing was trying to help others. So there was a lot of people that were having issues. I thought, oh, great, let me help these people. I've got a lot more time on my hands. I'm going to help them.
That's it.
But really what I was doing was deflecting. I started doing charitable work.
Charity work.
So, I would say probably one of my lowest points actually was looking to do a skydive. So I decided to do a skydive for charity, and it was an amazing experience. But I do remember, when I was driving up to my sister's house the night before, she invited me over to stay around her house because this place that I was jumping out of the plane was very close to Bedfordshire. And my sister lives in Bedfordshire, so I thought, I'll stay around with my sisters.
So you stayed around hers the night before?
The night before, and on the way up, driving up to my sister's, I actually, just for context, I never wanted to do a sky jump. I was absolutely petrified of a sky jump, and I was afraid that the parachute wouldn't open. I was afraid that the straps would break off. I'd just be like, no, I'm not doing it.
What's funny? A side note: before that happened, I had an episode called Facing Your Fears. This is way before you'd done the skydive, and one of the biggest things that we were scared of talking in that episode, me and my mate, was doing a skydive, jumping out of a plane. That's a big thing you did.
It's a big one. Yeah,
and done it for a good cause as well.
Yeah, we raised loads of money, so which was great. But I remember driving to my sister's house, thinking to myself at that point, I was really low at that point, and I said to myself, if that parachute doesn't open tomorrow, I don't care.
You just felt that low.
That's how. I was in a really, really dark place.
But not that you wanted to delete yourself, but you just didn't care if things went wrong.
I wasn't thinking straight at that very time of moment. So I wasn't thinking, I don't care if it doesn't open. Obviously, I knew what the consequences were if it didn't open. But I wasn't thinking straight.
So you was at a point where I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. And I went to go and see my sister. We had a lovely dinner together. The following morning, I was thinking back at that moment, and I thought to myself, I was wrong. I shouldn't be. At that point, that wasn't right. That wasn't good. And then I started realizing through. I don't know if you heard of a guy called Simon Sinek, talking about like balance and talking about kind of like where we are in our lives. And that really came back to me to think, right, okay, I've got to try and find that balance because we all have lows and highs.
It's that tip in the scale, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I acknowledge that at that point I was having a low.
And what? That whole skydive. It's funny you mentioned that. It was at a low point in your life, because it's almost like a metaphor to it, because like, yeah, I'm so high, you know, I'm with this woman I've been with for 15 years, we live in a nice house, nice life, and then it come crashing down, and you literally went flying down.
It certainly did.
It was like it's like poetic justice in a way, you know what I mean?
Do you know what? It's the most amazing experience, and I'd recommend it to anybody that can actually physically do it. The exhilaration of jumping out of a plane and dropping at that speed, and then the moment when the parachute opens and you're just kind of like in midair and there's just silence. Yeah. And you're looking down and thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. Obviously, not anybody, no good for anybody that has fears of heights. But yeah, it's an amazing experience. But yeah, no, it taught me that at that point it did tell me, look, listen, I need to get some help. So I decided that I wanted to get some counselling. So I got 4 sessions of counselling, and that really did help.
So when you say counselling, do you mean like actual like therapy? Yeah, like speaking to a therapist.
Mm-hmm. I went to go and see a therapist. My friends were awesome. I've got to say, I had a couple of friends that were amazing, and they gave me their advice, but they gave me advice from their perspective, and generally their perspective would have been biased, right? So, yeah.
Tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I wanted to get some professional help, which I know in this country, it's not very,
sort of
in the UK,
I
should say, depending on where you listen to this, listen to this podcast, in the UK, it's kind of frowned upon.
It's frowned upon,
yeah, so
it's almost like stigmatized, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so but I didn't care at that point. I thought I needed help, and you often find that when people acknowledge that they need help, whether it's like a drug addiction or alcohol addiction, as soon as someone, you're all right, you're all right, you're all right. Yeah, only a couple,
Only a couple.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? When someone does have an issue, once they've acknowledged they've got an issue, at that point they're ready to heal and they're ready to fix themselves up.
Yeah, that's
it. And that was my point when I was ready to start, healing.
Because like, I'll be honest with you, when I went to New York last July, and we're in November, hopefully the vlog will be out before this is out. I went to a comedy show, and there was like a lineup of 8 comedians, and about 6 out of 8 of them, they all spoke about a therapist. Oh, my therapist told me this, my therapist told me that. And it was so normalised. It was like you said before, like seeing a GP or like seeing a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But here, the stigma is if you see a therapist, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah. That may be. I mean, it may be changing at some point. Obviously, we talk about mental health at the moment.
Right now, while this is being recorded, is Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think maybe that stigma maybe it may be helped slightly in that people are able to speak a little bit more about their experiences. But
honestly, does seeing a therapist actually help from experience?
Yeah, it certainly does, because you're getting a non-biased opinion on your situation, and but sometimes I don't know about women, but as men, we really it really hits us hard. We don't talk about it. We go into like our little man cave. We try and figure things out ourselves. We have a very biased view, let's say, from our friends and
family and all of that.
Yeah. So it's we try our best to try and figure things out ourselves, but it doesn't quite work out sometimes.
Because I don't know if you're familiar with a show called The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like the main guy, Tony Soprano, he's like this big mafia boss. But he's seen a therapist while he's doing Life of Crime and all that. And he's the godfather in the show, basically. And at the end of it, they found out, like, all his like underlings found out he was seeing a therapist. They're like, oh my God, is he snitching? Is he talking to police? But there was a point in the show where, like, obviously, this is not normal because he's a sociopath, and it's fiction. But he said to the therapist, like, you see all this therapy? It's all one big jerk off. It's all one big echo chamber. Basically saying that it didn't help him.
Yeah.
Like, it's all a waste of time. But I'm guessing from experience, that's not true, obviously.
No, it really did help me. And it changed the way I was thinking about life and where I wanted to be. And, if I hadn't gone through that therapy, then, I may not be where I am now. Who knows,
So for anybody listening, what are the main things that you learnt from therapy?
Communication,
yeah.
Huge. Communication, being appreciative of myself. I think a lot of times you look at yourself and you think, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing the right things. But actually, when you actually self-reflect, you think to yourself, you are a good person. You are doing, you're looking after your family.
You learn to appreciate yourself a bit more.
Yeah, yeah,
and not in a narcissistic way, but more like a self-love.
Yeah, exactly.
Way,
yeah. Without it being too kind of like weird, and because we are still very reserved in this country, aren't we? So so for me, like, that's what I learned, and I thought, right, okay, I'll start again. I need to start again, almost like flip a switch and kind of reset.
No, but you know how have you heard that metaphor? Not even a metaphor. It's a saying. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I feel like you basically went through a hard time, obviously, which I didn't know. Obviously, I knew what happened, but now I'm feeling selfish. Me asking you for advice. Oh, what do I do about the end of my 2-month relationship? And you're obviously going through all of that, right? Seeing a therapist and feeling like when I jump off the plane. If the parachute doesn't open, I don't care. I didn't know that until last week when we were talking about this podcast.
Yeah. Well, listen. Again, I think at the time I wasn't comfortable enough to tell anybody. And obviously once I'd kind of healed, and I'll be like, I was cool. I was at peace with it. Yeah. It's only through kind of like discussing kind of topics for podcasts and talking about. Obviously, you mentioned it's mental health month, and I thought it'd be cool to bring it up, right?
And like I said, light at the end of the tunnel. You come out of a relationship, 15 years, you had to rebuild everything. Look at 2 years later, you're engaged. So
yeah. I've got loads of plans for next year. It's moving on, and that's why it's such a scary thing when somebody goes into a form of depression or goes into a part-time of their life where they're really struggling. Thoughts go into their minds and into their heads, and if they haven't got anybody to reach out to and speak to, it can be very dangerous, especially for men. Because when we're
fighting demons, aren't we?
Yeah, we do. And I think men, when they're lonely and when they don't have anybody around, we can be very dangerous. We turn to violence. We turn to being maybe. I don't know. You just don't. I don't feel we can be good people sometimes. Yeah. So we can be narcissists maybe a little bit. It's things like this. So I think it's always good to speak when you can, or to try to communicate or learn to communicate.
100%. But sometimes as a guy, you feel like people don't give a crap about men's well-being. Especially like linking back to the dating game. Oh, if you don't earn so much money, you're not shit. You don't deserve the girl. Oh, if you're not this tall, you ain't shit. If you don't look like this, you're not good enough. Like, I feel like society is really harsh on men. And they don't care, and these sort of expectations don't care about the repercussion it has on people. If you're not like this, you ain't shit. If you're not like that, you ain't shit. And these men just feeling depressed, and it's sad, really.
I get that. But my experience, when eventually when I did start going out and speaking to women and just going out talking, it was slightly different for me because I never really entertained the whole kind of like social
networking
dynamic. I went out and actually met people, and maybe for me it was slightly different in that obviously. The demographic, the people I'm looking at, are slightly older than maybe your generation.
They're more like mentally matured.
Yeah, I'm finding that people, in their late 30s, mid to late 30s, which I would probably be, looking at. They're of an age now where, some of them already had kids. Yeah. Some of them are, haven't had kids, and now had enough of all the kind of messing around with the bad guys because I've, a lot of the girls that I was speaking to, they were so used to guys messing them around because they were probably looking for the excitement of being with maybe a bad guy, they didn't feel like nice guys were fun or
as they say enough. Right, nice guys finish last, don't they?
Well, often you hear it, yeah. But I don't know. You can get a woman on one day, one of your podcasts. You can ask the question and find out their perspective on it.
Yeah. So, what do you think about nice guys?
Yeah, but I've seen many of these kind of videos online, and I do feel that is accurate. With some girls that are maybe of a nature that they want to go out and have fun and maybe be promiscuous and stuff like that. Eventually, they want to settle down, because they're looking for a nice guy now. But then they may struggle to find a nice guy because a lot of the nice guys have already been taken. Or if you're staying in a local community, you've got a reputation of being a bit rough, and maybe guys don't want to be with that particular person. There's various different aspects to it.
Yeah, men don't want to ride a used bicycle, do they?
Well, no, we like new bicycles, don't we?
New bicycle.
Or but do you know what? There's multiple kind of there's multiple reasons why women want to do what they want to do. And good luck to them if that's what they want to do. Great.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you're at the age group now where women are a bit more less demanding, they're a bit more mature, and sort of know what they want now.
I mean, when I didn't kind of go out on the dating scene and meet too many people, but generally, at their kind of like mid to late 30s, I think you often find that women are ready to kind of settle down. Those that already haven't had children, and that do want children, as an example, they're looking for a much more mature man to settle down with. So it's a different dynamic, I think, in terms of my kind of like experience to say maybe some people's experiences in the early to mid 20s, as an example.
But you see the whole saying of women want protection and provision. Do you think this is a new age thing where it's an excuse for women to want to date millionaires, or do you think that stood the test of time? I think protection and provision.
Do you know what, the whole kind of protection provision? I think it's kind of built into our DNA.
So it stood the test of time. Basically.
I think men have always been hunter gatherers in the sense that they're hardwired to want to look after and protect, and do what they can to for a woman. I think what's happening now is that a lot of men, due to society and what's happening in the world, they're maybe a little bit more, a little bit demasculated slightly. So what's happening now is that women are still looking for that type of person, but because of that, that men are less masculine, women are becoming more kind of alpha in that sense. And then you're having this disparity where women are maybe saying, "Oh, men aren't men," or men,
because there's a lot of feminine men. It forces women to be in their masculine, right? Exactly,
yeah. So you're getting maybe a lot of that, and then what's happening is that you see the men that you do see as an example are going to be a lot more alpha men, and they're the ones that are going to be getting most of the girls. Right? And because those alpha men are extreme, kind of they may not treat women nicely, or they may then those are the kind of women that those men that women are seeing on a regular basis. They're not seeing all the other men that are maybe at home or don't have the confidence to go out and meet women.
But you see, back to the ice cream shop analogy that the girl gave me, I just feel like a lot of young women, they got way too many options. And you see this thing here? It's made the world a lot smaller.
Agreed, for both men and women.
But come on, who has more options dating? Women have more options.
Women will always have more options, 100%, yeah.
Going back to the dating app thing, I told you there was a test where a woman didn't agree with the whole women have more options, but they'll get more matches. She sort of catfished for the day. Oh yeah, let me try be a man for the day. They're like, I'm going to get matches, la la la. Not one match.
Yeah.
Took about 3 hours to get one match.
Yeah.
But when she put her own thing, her own profile, every other 5 minutes, she was getting a match.
Yeah. And that's the kind of sign of the times, I guess. Yeah, and that's why really I don't really like the whole kind of dating scene online. And I've never really touched it because it just feels very fake.
Very fake, yeah. And there's this theory that, not even a theory, I've come to a conclusion recently that, and I talk about this with friends and family, and I was talking about this with a client today, I just feel like in general, whether you're talking about dating or you're talking about workspace or business or whatever society, it's in society, in this society, Western world, Great Britain, or even in America, right? I just feel like narcissists and dishonest people become successful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I could agree with you there. I would agree with you there. Yeah, they're the ones that shout the most or shout the loudest.
Shout the loudest, yeah.
You know, and kind of make it to where they need to get to.
Like they'll lie their way to the top, or in this case, they'll lie their way with a woman, to get what they want.
Well, I mean, look, this happens everywhere. You know, potentially, like you could say that when you watch these online kind of shows, podcast shows, we spoke about this, the other day when we say there's headline kind of titles of shows that they come out just to generate that
shock value.
That shock value. How much of that is true? How much of that is not true? You get these shows where you've got these beautiful girls all lined up, and you've got these guys kind of berating them and kind of asking challenging questions.
That's it.
And I think to myself, where are we going with all of this?
And I tell you what that's all about is, some of them girls, they want the camera time, some of them want the attention, whatever. Some of them want to promote their OnlyFans, or promote their Instagram, whatever, right? But for the most part, a lot of those guys, they're online marketers, so they ask them prompt questions that it's going to piss them off.
Yeah.
So that they can get a retaliation, and then they have an argument, and then kick the guy out of the studio. And now, it's a big headline. Oh, rude feminist woman gets kicked out of the studio, kicked out of the podcast, and that gets millions of views.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of it is, like you said, prompt questions and shock value, right?
Yeah.
But it's creating a narrative,
Yeah,
saying that most modern women are like that. Are they really? Maybe some, not all.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think all women are like that. I mean, I think what we see on those shows is the extreme.
The extreme.
Like you get, maybe on the masculine side, you get someone like Andrew Tate as an example, who I would say is the extreme kind of like red pill type person.
Yeah.
Those girls, those OnlyFans girls, or those girls that go to these shows, I would say are the extreme, of girls, and those kind of girls that are very set in their ways in terms of the way they look, and the kind of people they're looking for, and the kind of lifestyle they were looking for, and a lot of the time it's not really realistic, in terms of what we have over here as an example. Don't get me wrong, we have OnlyFans girls over here as well, or women that use whatever they use their bodies to sell themselves. Good luck to them if that's what they want to do. But also we've also got just like the real world out there as well.
Reserved women.
Yeah, we're reserved
women.
And
that's a testament to what you just said there. That 90% of the time I'm successful in real life.
Well, in say real life. I mean, that is real life, but
like
day to
in real time.
What we see out there on a regular basis. That's for me is what I see in my real world, as opposed to what you see online. I find them very educational, and it's interesting to see where society is going with it, and I do watch them, but more for an information, more so than.
So, what are your thoughts on this red pill, blue pill? We all seen the Matrix. The red pill will wake you up. The reality will be shit, but at least you're in the real world. Or the blue pill will keep you in la la land, fantasy land. You're asleep, you're delusional. In this case, in the context of men and women, red pill is basically men are awake to the ways of modern women. Men are awake to how they're being taken for mugs and all that. Blue pill are people that are they'll simp over a girl. They'll comment online on it. I'll drink your bath water, or I'll spend. Let me give you a donation. What I mean? Those are blue pill simps, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that sort of them categories there?
I think what you've got there are two extremes.
Yeah.
And I've never been the type of person that has been one extreme or the other. I've always tried to find the balance between the two, because I've never been one to kind of be very simpy over a girl, but I've never been one to be horrible or overpowering over a girl. I think there's got to be a mutual respect.
That's it.
And you've got to find a balance with whoever you're with. Not everybody's going to be a match. You know, and some people are need a certain type of personality. Some people need the complete opposite. There's no right or wrong with that. So I think trying to find somewhere that's in the middle is ideal for me.
Yeah, I get that. Like my take on this whole red pill, blue pill thing, like people like Andrew Tate, the red pill, blue pill, all it is content. People like Andrew Tate, online marketer. I've met people in this circle. I used to go to networking events. Even the previous guy, Michael Trostein, he's been on Fresh and Fit. He's part of that circle. And what Andrew Tate does, what he's got going on right now, it's a savior complex. Like I'm gonna say something outrageous. Oh, my woman is not allowed to leave the house. So that garners the attention. Then he'll speak common sense. Oh, the sky is blue and grass is green, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he said the sky is blue and grass is green." Oh, so he's speaking sense, you know. And then he creates like a cult, like they lockdown, we weren't allowed to leave the house. And he's like, "Oh, it's the Matrix. They're after us. Oh, they're cancelling me. Blah blah blah." And then the people that are listening to consuming that content, they're saying, "Oh my God, it's us versus them now." So he's like, "Look at me, look at my watch, look at my car. Oh my God, this guy's successful. He's got a Bugatti. Let me buy his course." And that's how they make money off you, man.
Yeah, that's very true, very true. I've got a lot of respect for the guy in many ways because he's very successful, and a lot of things that he says make sense. Some of the things that he says, I don't agree with.
Because it's shock value, right?
Yeah, because it's the shock value, and I don't agree with some of the things he says. But, coming from a guy, and for some women as well, he has a lot of influence, and a lot of women agree with him, with certain aspects of what he says as well. But, I think he's a very powerful, influential person, as well as many other people online. I just feel that, you're with that kind of extreme personality, you're going to get maybe extreme people kind of like following.
Yeah, but he's admitted it himself though. Like he plays a character. It's like I saw a clip of him. So, like in the camera, he's very animated, very loud, very brash.
Yeah.
There was a clip of him. He was on a private jet. Loads of girls around him, but he wasn't chatting to the girls. His bro was chatting to the girls. The guy was just chilling out, sitting down, listening to his headphones. Yeah. He's a quiet guy in real life,
Yeah.
But to garner attention, you got to play a character. And sadly enough, people that, I don't know if they need a father figure or they need a messiah in their life or they need some sort of role model, they gravitate to it. And he gets richer and people get angrier towards women, and that's the current red pill market now.
Yeah, well,
and it creates a divide. That's the sad thing as well.
Well, it does. I think that's with anything in life. I think you look at politics, it creates a divide.
Yeah.
You look at religion, it creates a divide. And that's been around for years. All the wars that we've had, all over the,
divide and conquer.
It is, yeah. It's about putting people into, like sides. What side are you on? And this person's done this or this country's done that or whatever it is, and then we get into these horrible wars where so many people die, and then collateral damage or two sides want to just fight it out,
and people are fighting causes that don't even benefit them directly.
No, yeah, well, this is it, yeah. So I don't know. It's a real difficult one, but it's just I think you can just put it down to just it's human nature. It's who we are, and this is what we do.
Okay, but instead of like, all right, if you bypass the marketing in terms of the actual ideology of red pill, blue pill. When I was heartbroken and I went through a breakup and I felt like I was hard done by women, like I'd go to clubs, I'd be used to buy them a drink, and then I'd be rejected continuously. This is like in the past. And I saw King Richard's a guy that obviously I look up to. He's got a good channel going. He shouted out this show before. Randomly one day, 2018, I stumbled across his video and he's speaking a lot of sense. And I'm like, oh my God, like this guy's speaking sense, man. Because I had the anger of being screwed over and feeling like I've been hard done, I gravitated towards the content.
Of course you would, yeah.
And then a year ago, I went through a period where I was actually getting girls and good looking ones for that. And I see all these red people. They're still in those chat rooms. I'm talking about the fans, the people that consume the content, and they're like, yeah, these women are bad. And you're just judging OnlyFans girls on fucking Fresh and Fit. You're not judging all women, but they use them as an example of the modern woman.
Yeah.
And these people, they got a thing called red pill rage, where it's just like a hatred towards women, right? And I'm thinking like, these people just can't get girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in a balanced perspective of like, you've been dumped, you've been rejected, you've had women, you've not had women. You just learn that there's going to be good people and there's going to be bad people. Or you're going to be successful, you're going to be unsuccessful. It's just part of life, really.
It is, yeah. I think it's about opening your eyes to the bigger world.
The bigger world, yeah.
Yeah, because you can get very quickly sucked into the rabbit hole of watching these online programs or online podcasts, and it's very dangerous. Because it's a very small narrative in terms of what's going on in the world. There are people out there that are normal, that don't believe in all of this, that live really, very much.
It's like
average, sensible lives.
One thing that I'm big about my show is like it's all about authenticity. Like this is the middle ground. You know what I mean? I'm not biased towards anything. I'm not on no one's team. I'm on my own team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all about being indifferent.
Yeah,
to everything and thinking for yourself, right?
I think if you're passionate about something and you believe in something, like if this whole kind of red pill thing, if that's what you genuinely believe and you can back it up with your own facts and your own experiences, and that's where you are in life right now, so be it. I'm cool with that. If you can back that up. For me, I'm not that extreme. For me, I look at my own experiences and I think to myself, well, I did things that weren't right, or I did things that I could have done differently to have made my life different. And some people, that I think they've got to maybe look at themselves and reflect back and think, right, okay, what could I have done differently? It's not always the other person's fault.
But looking at it from like a positive, objective standpoint, the red pill, I just see it as being streetwise.
Yeah, well, on both sides, I guess.
Being streetwise in the dating thing, but it's almost like a knife, right? You can use a knife to like cut chicken, to butter a slice of toast, and like you use it to your own benefit, right? And then, or you can be like Jeffrey Dahmer and go on a rampage and start going on a killing spree, right? But I feel like a lot of these people that get sucked into this red pill content and they're like, yeah, women are like this, women are like that. They went on that killing spree. They're drunk on red pill.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, and you know what? If that's what they need in their lives at that particular moment, then that's what they need. And obviously, these online creators,
they obviously benefit.
They benefit from it because they know that's what's happening in the world right now, or that's what's happening in society right now. And let's be frank. I mean, we're talking about probably Western society. You go to different countries. You go to the Arab countries. You've probably got nothing like this.
Nothing. Like
it's complete opposite. You'll probably find. You'll find. There's men with multiple wives, or you find that go to.
But I don't agree with that either.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that they're happy with that and they're cool with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Whether people are happy with it or not, it's whatever their society is accepted of, and if that's what they accept, that's what they accept.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it, but.
So we're back after a little break. So we ended on the red pill stuff now.
Yeah.
And just a quick question, right? For anybody that's sort of going through heartache right now, or anybody that's been through a bad experience and they're currently red pill and they're in a rut, they feel like there's no hope. Current dating apps and all that. You even said at the beginning you feel bad for my generation. What's your advice for that person?
My advice, I would say that the first thing you need to do is you need to just take a step back, and just look at where you are in your life right now, in terms of like where you are personally, kind of like work related things that you're going through, your personal relationships with your family, if there's family around, your friends, and find someone that you can trust, that you can just talk to. But do you know what? It feels absolutely liberating when you can have got someone that you can trust, that you can just offload and just speak to that person, right? Just bounce some ideas off each other. Then for me, what really worked for me was find something to do. Find something, and if it's it could be something that you already do. Like I like doing my Spartan races. It gets me going to the gym. It gets me out in the open.
So saying get a hobby.
Find a hobby. Yeah, find a hobby. Find a new circle of friends. Find something completely different to do, or carry on enjoying the things that you maybe stopped doing. So you may have stopped doing certain things because you had met a girl and then they'd broken up and then you stopped. You haven't got back into it. Learn to play an instrument. It could be anything. Like just find something else to do that's going to break the mold of where you're sitting at that moment.
I'm always big on goals, but sometimes when life gets the best of you, you forget your goals, right?
Yeah.
But I like to say, as anybody, as a guy or a woman, you should aim to get power in your life. So if you want control out of your life, you want power over oneself, right? And I like to break it down between obviously financial, physical, which is like health, right? Social power, like working on your confidence skills and all that sort of stuff. Friendships, build up sort of power in that, like mental power as well. Are you learning more? Have you stopped learning? You don't really want to be walking around ignorant. That's why I'm always big on reading and learning new things. So I feel like the best way to build that up is just through having goals, like you got a financial goal, or you got an entertainment goal. We all want goals, right? We all, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to start a business? You know what? Do you want to tell people what you've got going on right now?
In terms of goals?
Goals and just what you're doing in general.
Well, I mean,
what you're working towards,
I tell you what, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, I'll be honest with you, I've always kind of planning ahead for next year now. And one of the things that I've got going on, which I'm really looking forward to, and you're going to be involved in it as well, is our road trip.
Oh, really? Road trip to where?
Road trip, the road trip to America. So I've done about 3 road trips in my time, and I've got probably the biggest one. So we're going to be starting in Atlanta, going down to New Orleans, driving through Texas, and finishing up in Las Vegas. So I'm actually planning, the route right now in terms of how we're going to do it. It's going to be exciting, and that's kind of that's one of my focus points.
So that's an entertainment, social.
That's my
goal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've also going through a change with my business. So in March of next year, I'm going to be looking at moving into another sector or moving into something different. So I've got that going on in terms of my financial, and then in terms of goals. When I look at goals, I don't necessarily look at am I going to start a new business, or am I going to, make more money, or how much money I'm going to make. When I look at goals, I look at where I want to be in 10 years' time or 15 years' time. So for me, house, family, I want to be, I want a residual income where I can be sat at home watching TV and still earning money.
In the bank,
These are the kind of things that I want. So now I think to myself, how am I going to get there? And what the tools I'm going to use to get there. So for me, that's what I'm working on at the moment, and I'm putting a plan together for myself for that.
That sounds good. So your goal is never, it's never like a be all end all. It's
progressive.
Progressive.
The problem with goals is that if you give yourself a goal and you reach that goal, it's going to lose. What's next? So for me, I think a goal should evolve. It should move. It should move as you go up. You have little wins in life, but your ultimate goal, for me, making more money wouldn't be a goal, or me having X amount in the bank isn't really a goal. That for me, money is a tool to be able to get to where you want to be in life. So when I look at goals, it's they are flexible, and they can be molded, and
what you want,
and they can vary as you move on. So it's great to have goals, but always I think don't be limited to those goals, because if you eventually reach your goal, what's next? And some people struggle to work that out once they get there.
But I do think goals are really important because, so I'm not saying no names, and I could probably put myself into that category. There's a lot of guys when they get into a relationship, or they get with a woman, they lose track of everything they've got going on. You know, some of them even become bums, and they make that woman the center of their universe.
Yeah.
So I think like goals are really important, or gaining power over yourself and over your life is really important because you never want to be at the mercy of a person.
No.
You always want to be in a position where, you know, if this woman leaves, I'm still okay. If my job or my business doesn't work out, I'll be okay. If this doesn't work out, I'll be okay because you've built your resources and your power and your experience to a certain level where, you know, people can't mess with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do tend to do that as guys, don't we? We tend to centre like someone new that's come into our life as our, you know, as our be or end all. You know, but I think that's probably hardwired into our nature. We're hardwired into like, you know, the whole kind of hunter gathering and looking after that person,
the provider and all that.
So I think that transpires in so many different ways in this modern day world. You know, obviously we're not having to go out and hunt animals anymore. But you know, where we kind of focus on that one person, we lose track of what's happening everywhere else, and that can be a detriment. But I think that's just something that's hardwired in a lot of men, I think. Yeah,
and it's funny, like you mentioned, like the road trip. A few days ago, I was listening to a podcast I made 2 years ago. It was basically society standards that keep men broke or keep people broke and in the struggle. And just talking about stuff like, you know, like don't be pressured into going into rental straight away. Don't be pressured to doing this. Don't be pressured to buying the latest car. If you're a guy, don't be pressured to settle down with a woman if you're single, whatever, or if you're not in a financially stable position, because it could fuck you up. And at the end of it, we were talking about like you need an entertainment goal. And talking about like going on holidays and stuff, like live within your means. So the whole theme of that episode was about living within your means. And we were talking about holidays. Like I'm not a big fan on weekend trips. I'd rather do like a big holiday all at once, right? And this is 2 years ago. And in that podcast, at the end of it, I was saying, a holiday. Like this is during lockdown. I recorded it. It was like, a holiday for me would be to go to Cyprus and jump on a jet ski, or go to New York for 11 days. And then 2 years later, I'd done all that. And then at the end of me giving that list of where I want to go on holiday, I was saying, don't have unrealistic holidays. For right now, for my life right now, going to Las Vegas is an unrealistic holiday. 2 years later, we're going to Vegas, baby.
I'm going to Vegas, And do you know what? The great thing about these road trips, I absolutely love a road trip. I love driving in
No, I've never been on a road trip.
And never. It's pretty. I mean, the one we're doing, the one you're actually joining on to, is probably the most intense one I've done because we're literally crossing 4 time zones, we're literally going from one side of the country to the other.
Exactly, and people that don't know, America's like a continent.
It's huge. It's huge. It's huge. We're probably going to be hitting maybe 7 or 8 states, in different areas. I mean, it's crazy what we're going to be doing. But what I love about it is the people that you meet, the places that you see, the experience of driving through the different terrains. Starting off in Atlanta, and then going down to New Orleans. And then driving through Texas, the vast scarceness of Texas, where we've probably not seen much for a long time.
My mate David, he's been on the podcast during the early days. He's in Houston right now with work. And I don't know if you saw it, but he sent me a really good spot we should check out.
What's that? What was that then?
What was it called? It's the name of a place. Let me just take a quick look on my phone, right?
Yeah, let us know what it is. It'll be interesting to know.
So, like for educational purposes during this road trip, when we reach Houston, we shall be visiting a place called Bombshells Restaurant and Bar. Southwest Houston.
Let's have a look. Okay, that looks very, very similar to a place that I've seen before. But it's not there. It's a place called Tilted Kilt.
Oh, Tilted Kilt.
Place called Tilted Kilt. Yeah, these judging by that photo I just saw, great places to buy some